How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another week and another Destiny 2 video, where this week we are going over the Grandmaster Lightblade strike. Now, this strike is honestly the hardest strike in rotation this season, and it is, quite frankly, a pain in the ass. This was the only Grandmaster that I was actually worried about getting footage for beforehand to edit the video and make this video. Luckily, I got it done. So, I'm going to go through it, give you guys some tips, tricks, little hints, and help you guys get through this because this one can be a pain. So let's get started. When you first enter the strike, you're going to walk down a flight of stairs, and when you get down there, you're going to see everything down there that's going to kill you. There are two barrier champions underneath the bridge, down below another flight of stairs. There's a bunch of ads around you, acolytes, and a bunch of arc shield knights. I believe there are 3 or 4 of them. And Alakul down guarding the door, just lobbing his ridiculous arc projectiles at you. What I like to do is I like to get rid of Alakul first. Just shoot him with your primary, your heavy, your special, whatever you have. Just get rid of him, as when he is gone, you can maneuver this area a lot easier and take care of the barrier champions and ads as you need to. Now, when Alakul is gone, one of 2 things is going to happen for you and your team. 1, if the ads are just bombarding you and you can't get good angles on the barriers, take care of them. If you have good angles on the barriers, get rid of them. It all depends on what you guys need to deal with first, whether the barriers or the other ads. Luckily, the barrier champions sit really close to each other most of the time, so you can just throw grenades and abilities down there, and normally you can take care of them pretty easily. Once you get the barriers taken care of, you can literally skip every other ad in this room as long as you can make it to the doorway on the other side that Alakul is guarding. Once you get up there and you load the next zone, every ad in this area will disappear. So once you get that all taken care of, we can move on into this next area where we are going to meet our first Lucent Hive. Once you're in this area and you climb a small set of stairs, you're going to be met with a hallway, and at the end of that hallway is a solar wizard. Take care of her and her sister on the other side of that ledge, and then usually there is 3 things in this room you have to worry about. 2 barrier champions, 1 usually spawns on the left upper hallway, 1 spawns in the middle, and the Lucent Hive that spawns on the right upper hallway. Now what we did is we just threw a tether at him, and we just nuked him with grenades and whatever else that we could get rid of him with. When that happens, work on the barrier champions, as they are the next thing to worry about. Before you defeat the last few acolytes, get back to the back end of this hallway where you started from, because a Lucent Hive is going to spawn where that wizard was at the beginning of this room. With you back here in this hallway, it's very easy to take care of this Lucent Hive. Just throw nades at him, do the same thing over again, push forward, deal with the thralls that are going to rush you, and another barrier champion. Once that barrier champion has been dealt with, it's going to be another barrier champion and another Lucent Hive that spawned down there in the middle. Team shot them, get rid of them. The Lucent Hive take priority here. They will one-shot you out of your super. They will ricochet shields off your allies and get a nice crispy double kill, and their suppressor grenades can one-tap you if they land directly on you. The Lucent Hive in this room are your #1 priority, because they will wipe your entire team before you really get started in this strike. Also, when this last wave spawns, there are 2 Arc Knights you have to deal with. Once you deal with all of this, you can push forward into the ship area where there are 2 more barrier champions waiting for you. Defeat them, jump on the boat, and go to the next area. While you're on this boat, there is going to be acolytes on the left and right hand side that are going to be shooting at you, and you can do 1 of 2 things here. You can either jump off of the boat and deal with them as you move forward, or you can stay on the boat, dodge their shots. Either way, when you get to the end, there's going to be a shrieker that you have to kill, or it's going to just rain down this barrage of void hellfire on top of you. Once you get down here, there's a hive barrier that's blocking your way. What you have to do is you have to grab a void charge from the left and right hand side and deposit it in their respective receptacles. On each side, there is a handful of ads and 2 Lucent Hive. Take care of them as a team, or just solo one of them. It's completely entirely up to you and your team, but get rid of them, grab the void charges, and dunk them in their little containers. This will open the hive barrier in front of you. When the hive barrier is opened, you now have to ride the boat all the way to the end to get to the swamp. Now, in this place, you can do the same thing as you did before. You can either hop off and run up the edges, killing the ads, so that this way you do not have to deal with them and taking care of the shriekers. We had a void hunter, so we just sat on the boat and they kept making us invisible. Nothing shot at us. There's nothing in this area you have to kill for platinum. It's just one of those just pain in the ass type things. And honestly, it is a lot easier with a Void Hunter because you can do just that. Just sit on the boat and keep envisaging yourselves, and nothing will ever pay you no mind. But if you go with the other option, just pay attention to the Acolytes, the Wizards, and the Shriekers. As you push up, obviously they're going to shoot at you. The Shriekers will open up and take shots at you. Either way, and when you get to the end with that way, actually, there will be a portal that'll open up to the next area, so there's no reason to worry about that either. When you get to that next area where the boat stops before the swamp, there's going to be just a ton of Thrall to jump on your boat. They're Thrall, they're really easy to deal with, like 2 grenades, and it's all taken care of. Once this part is done, you will now move on to the swamp, which honestly is terrifying, but we're going to go over that right now. In the swamp, there are only a handful of things you really have to worry about. Every now and then, Screebs are going to spawn, as well as Raiders. Those are really easy to take care of, but as you move through this swamp and you collect your weight of darkness, there are those Lucent Moths. These Lucent Moths will track you down and one-shot you. They are terrifying. I'm more scared of the moths in this than the actual Void Knights that we have to fight in the boss room, because all you do is you can hear them behind you, you hear the shriek, and they explode. Now, to deal with this swamp, there are a few options you can do. There is a path on the far left you can take and avoid most of the things being spawned, or you can be like us, and we went with the right side path because we had that Void Hunter, which allowed us to stay invisible for the majority of the thing. I even tried to Thunder Crash my way to the end just to make sure that we got there, because once you get through that final gate, everything here disappears. You can go back and pick up your teammates if they need to be picked up, but the hardest part here is just trying to run from those Lucent Moths. You can either take that left path like I mentioned, that right path like I mentioned, or you can try to go straight down the middle and just take it slow and make sure you kill everything that moves. A Screeb, a Raider, those Lucent Moths, take care of them, because that is the hardest part of this area, are those Lucent Moths. They are an absolute pain, and they hit like a truck. But once you get through that last gate, all you're going to deal with is an unstoppable champion and a few Scorn. Jump up there, watch for more moths as they still are in this area. When you get to that cliff, you're just going to shoot down upon ogres and abominations. Take care of them. There's like 2 or 3 unstoppable here. Get rid of them. The ogres will kill the abominations, which is hilarious. Make Alakul disappear. Take care of his 2 shriekers, and then we can move into the boss room, where movement is key and callouts are key. So let's begin this whole process. Once you drop down into this boss arena, Alakul is going to spawn on this little shelf plate middle altar looking thingy right in the middle of the room. When he does, throw your supers at him. As in this phase, orbs are going to be all over the ground on that platform. Just throw your supers, go collect those orbs. That's going to help you conserve a little bit of ammo here. During this entire boss fight, one of your teammates can kite Alakul between the middle platform and a ledge of whatever your friendly's choosing. This is very key. This will stop Alakul from shooting at you. It'll stop Alakul from chasing people down and swinging his axe at people, because quite frankly, his axe has Eager's Edge, and I'm a little jealous that his wasn't nerfed, but I digress. Make sure that your friendly can keep the aggro and jump between the plate and the platform, because this way it's going to save you guys a lot of time moving and just being caught out where things are going to kill you. When he gets to that first third of his health bar and he goes immune, 2 Arknights and a Lucent Brood are going to spawn on that middle platform. Throw everything you can there immediately. Try to keep that Lucent Brood right where he is and deal with those Arknights. When those Arknights die, his next phase is going to start, and this is where things change a little bit. He can still be kited up and down between that middle platform and one of the ledges. However, when he gets to half of his health here, he is going to spawn 2 barrier champions in a designated spawn spot. There are 4 of them. It can pick any of the 4 spots. I know that there's pictures out there that show good spawns and where they rotate. I do not have access to them. I've only seen them. But just pay attention. As soon as it says a champion has appeared, immediately look for one of those champions, team shot it, deal with the other one, get Alakul back in that rhythm of jumping between the middle platform and the ledge. When it gets to a third, of course, he is going to go and be immune. At this point, his helmet will be off, and he is going to be super aggressive, and he will chase you to the ends of the earth if he is given the chance, so don't give him that chance. Kill the Lucent Hive, kill the Arknights, and repeat the process. When he gets to half health, 2 more champions are going to spawn. After those 2 champions have spawned, give this man everything you have left. Supers, heavies, whatever you have, because once this part is done, you will finish the strike, and all that loot that you worked so hard for will plop down on the right hand of your screen. And I believe with the week that this comes out, because I'm doing this ahead of time, is Mindbenders Ambition. So get yourself a Mindbenders. If not, it'll be on the thumbnail, by the way, and I'm going to look a fool for saying this, but you'll get it, get the next thing off your Conqueror seal and or progress towards your Conqueror, and you will honestly never have to touch the strike again this season unless you want to, but that's very painful. Now, the biggest part about getting this done was our loadouts, which I'm going to go over right now. As for loadouts, I ran my Arc Titan with Heart of Inmost Light for storm grenades because those are very good. Arbalist for anti-barrier and dealing with just other shield types that we didn't have the element for. My crafted Insidious because it has enhanced demolitionist, which is very good for this build. And the new Arc linear fusion rifle, Sail Spy, Pitch Glass, which quite frankly I liked more than Storm Chaser because sometimes the recoil on Storm Chaser can be just a little too much when you need to hit consistent shots. As for mods, I ran things like Firepower, Elemental Ordnance, Elemental Charge, Seeking Wells, and Bountiful Wells just to feed into the whole grenade build aspect of this particular setup. And it was really good because the storm grenades on this clear ads so well and they just chunk targets so well. It is very much so a top tier build and it is amazing in endgame content. And speaking of good in endgame content, we also ran a Stasis Warlock with Osmiomancy gloves because Stasis Warlocks are amazing at endgame content. They allow you to hold down areas very well, which came in handy during the swamp. They also ran Arbalist for anti-barrier and those shield types, Horror's Lease for unstoppable, and Storm Chaser for DPS because even though I don't like Storm Chaser still hits very, very hard. They ran mods like Elemental Shards and Elemental Charge, Font of Wisdom, and 2 Firepower mods so they can feed back into their super, as well as their grenades and other abilities with those Stasis Shards. The final loadout we're going to look at is, of course, that Invis Hunter I talked about earlier. Void Hunter with Omni Oculus is always a fantastic thing. You get the bonus to your invisibility. They also ran Bastion, which comes with intrinsic unstoppable, Tarnished Metal for anti-barrier, Storm Chaser for DPS, and they also ran things like Reaping Wellmaker, Seeking Wells, Well of Tenacity, Well of Utility, and Well of Striking because I was making so many Arc Wells, they could pick up my Arc Wells and get their melee back even faster, which is really good synergy between my build and theirs. So with that though, that's the end of the guide, our little loadout section, and quite frankly, my mouth hurts. I have an abscess tooth in the back, so I'm going to leave it at that. So I hope everybody takes something from this, and I hope everybody has a great week.